Billy D's right here. What we're going to talk about today is this. I've noticed a lot of these social media marketing gurus out there have been telling their clients a good way to market themselves is to go on podcasts as guests. All right, the long and the short of it is maybe it's a good idea, maybe it isn't. Let's just say in your case, it's a good idea to go on some podcast programs. Now, unless you're paying to be on, in which case you should have a lot of input into content. If you're just approaching these programs and saying, hey, I'd like to be on your podcast because I'm great, well, there's basically two things that podcasters are going to be searching for when it comes to evaluating guests. The first thing that professional podcasters are going to want is great content. Okay, this is probably the most important thing. Content, your information should be engaging, it should be entertaining, it should be informative, it should have some value by itself to bring to the program. No one wants to sit and listen to you make a commercial, okay? Infomercials suck. That is not what podcasters want. Quite frankly, a great marketing strategy is something you should have for yourself, let alone anything else that you want to do. Because here's the deal. Let's say you're an author. Let's say you're a musician. If you have an interesting story, something traumatic happened that made you write that song, or some sort of a professional career you had gave you a great idea to write a book, these are things that will engage the audience. To just sit and tell them how great your music is or how great the book is probably isn't going to do that much. The second thing that a professional podcaster is going to want is they want their show to sound good. They don't want it to sound like it's been phoned in from Mars, all right? So if you have to use a phone, if that is your only option, most podcasters can make that work, but quite frankly, it's not my first choice. The next step up the ladder would be a headset like this one. Now, this is a good option if you're going to use Skype audio. It's a lot better than just talking into an open-faced computer. There's a lot of other services that podcasters will use that will take advantage of a headset as well. The next step up the audio ladder would be something like this. A USB microphone. USB microphones typically are affordable, they are not complicated, and they are typically plug-and-play devices. They sound great. This particular one is a microphone that a lot of podcasters use as their primary recording tool. Now, if you're going to go on the pro circuit with podcasters, here again, pros are probably going to use a recording device over the internet service, I should say, similar to Zencastr. That's what I use a lot. They want you to sound good. They want their program to sound good. And if you are planning on going on podcasts and other things a lot via the internet, a USB microphone is very much worth the investment. This probably isn't worth a great deal of time for casual podcast guests, but if you do get really serious about audio work, if you want to start your own professional podcast, or you want to start getting involved in voice work, then real audio products like an interface like this one with a microphone like this one is probably the way to go. Obviously, there's more complexity here, and you have to research what you're buying a little bit more carefully because you can get into a lot more money. One of the key differences from a USB microphone as opposed to this is a USB microphone is an all-in-one, which has an interface that performs this function built inside of it. Well, when you go separates, this alone can cost as much as some USB microphones, and you don't even have the microphone yet. But it's a lot more versatile. I can always get a better interface, keep the same microphone, and the other way around. This microphone will also plug into a mixer. It will plug into a digital recorder. So your options are wide open with real separate professional gear. Billy D's. That's the lowdown on what podcasters want. You can check out my podcast, the Billy D's Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, on down the line. Have a great day, and here's to making all of your podcasting sound great.